struggles here, guys. I'll never get this lighting right for a bright background on a mountain, but yeah, yeah. There's so much. I'm so cold right now. There's a cold front that was supposed to hit yesterday or last night or the night before, and it did hit, and it's been super cold since, and I'm not looking forward. I'm not like excited about that in general. I've been talking a lot about stress and spirituality and energy, and I feel like energy is the root thing that I'm really trying to talk about in everything that I'm mentioning. It's just, you know, expanding into these other topics that affect me mostly, but like have a effect on us all, if you will. So I wanted to bring it back into technology, and I had a list of things, but I left that in the Airbnb room, so I don't have that with me right now. I just met two amazing people, Caitlin, and I forgot what the other guy's name is. The only reason I know Caitlin's name is because she typed on my phone and I read it and she said it, and there's a lot of reinforcement there. I think his name was Josh, but don't quote me on that until I got guy who I'm calling Josh. I'm surprised that I made it up here because it was a pretty rough mountain. But I was talking in my last video, which I didn't post yet but will be posted right before this one, about how, you know, seeing the mountains and having that urge to climb it, I guess I felt like I was able to satisfy one of those urges right now, so it was nice. And I'm kind of just rambling, so as always, this is just my warm-up period, and if you learn anything about me, it takes time. So there's two things that I want to actually mention right now. One of them is a conversation I had with Mary, who is my Airbnb host in Alpine, Texas. We were talking about technology and the impact it has on people, and I was explaining the concepts of like the science, engineering, and technology. And I have a video on that, so I won't re-explain that because I feel like I did a pretty good job then. I did an amazing job when I spoke to Mary, but we didn't record our conversation, so it was lost in the ether. But just understanding that technology is a tool that augments your value, and that's a common theme that I was talking to Caitlin and her husband about just now, whereby we have value, right? And our value, finding our value and understanding our value are critical in order to understand how technology is useful for us. And like one of the questions Mary had for me, which was interesting, was like understanding when and how to use technology. And that's where I got into the conversation about value and understanding the science and the theory behind what you're trying to achieve with technology. And ironically, I've been meeting a lot of people who are like coaching that next generation, which is exactly kind of who I want to reach out to. Like those are people that I want to build a community with. And the big thing to understand, right, because I wasn't able to say the two things that I really wanted to just now, but there's information, there's distractions, there's technology as a tool or like usefulness, right? And if you think about the information, right, it's like, what do you need in order to make decisions to understand the world around you? Once you have an understanding of the world around you, once you have an understanding of yourself and what you want to achieve, you can use technology as a tool and understand how that relates to what you want. But with how rapidly technology has advanced and how much we have available at our disposal, technology has become a distraction, and it's separating the usefulness from the information or understanding of ourselves or our awareness about life, right? And in order to break down that distraction, we have to get back to the basics, and that includes like, I want to say primarily like decluttering your life in the sense of like performing a sort of inventory of what you have and kind of taking an iterative an iterative approach to getting better, because like a lot of us are in a place where we either don't know where we are or we know we're bad, but we think that the solution is too far away in order to correct, right? And there's so many quotes about like that 1% every day compounds exponentially, right? And just like there's a lot of other things, but I can't remember them. I can't remember them right now. And the point how this relates back to energy is that when we focus on time as a resource, we're essentially saying that time is our reference for success or not, and depending on how much time has passed, what's happened in that time, that's what we use to assess where we've been and where we're going almost. But the whole point is that where you've been and where you're going, that is the real point, and using time as a reference doesn't really give you much. It helps us as a society kind of work together and have a point of reference that is useful for kind of sequentially understanding things, but it's not an evaluation of success, which a lot of people use it to do. And when you say you've lived a life, right? People are 20 years old and they could say they've lived a life. People are 80 years old and they can say they didn't live a life, right? So what quantifies your ability to live a life, to have a successful, whatever you want to call it, is how you use your energy to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And how long it takes you or how little it takes you is completely irrespective of what it is you actually achieved and what that means to you. So I'm not really trying to convince anyone of anything. This is just my thought process, and one of the things that I think is getting lost as we like go into the future is just an understanding of value and like being able to see our own value and see the value in others, and like use that as the point of reference for, I don't like the word success, but like the point of reference for like, we're just gonna stick with success because I can't think of the word, but we'll come back to that in the future. One of the things I wanted to say about the last video I made was that I was like, kind of like, what's the word for that? Like, I wasn't nervous, but I had the movements of being nervous. I was like pacing around and shit. And I was doing that a little bit now, and the only reason I'm doing it now is because of the coldness and like my body needs to like generate heat. But anyway, I was anxious about leaving Texas because of how long I had spent in it, and it felt like I wasn't necessarily anticipating anything, but I was like intrigued about like just like reflecting on everything that's happened, because like this is day 67, I want to say, and a lot of things has happened, but sometimes it feels like nothing's happened, and sometimes it feels like I've traveled the world because of like how far it seems I've gone, and then sometimes it feels like I haven't gone anywhere. So like self-reflection and like using time in that context is like where I'm still struggling. But in terms of why I said all of that, why did I say all of that? Oh, I was just trying to say that kind of explain my behavior sort of in the last video, and it wasn't one of my best videos, but, and I'm not saying this is any really better, but I think like the whole point of this video is to show some sort of progress and some sort of like iterative growth, because a lot of people are like, you know, focused on like feeling successful and they're not appreciating the time, the journey it takes to get there. And for me, the journey is always more important than the destination. So that's why I'm like being lenient, being spontaneous, like not being strict in terms of like how long I'm taking in certain places. If I really cared about time, I would not have spent 2.5 weeks in Texas. And like even like now in New Mexico, it's a much smaller state, but I want to spend more time, and like we'll see like how it all goes. But yeah, I'm also not looking forward to the cold. Like it's already too cold, and I'm like I'm struggling, guys. But I'm already dark in this video and you guys can't see me anymore, so we'll see where I post, how I post this, but at least you got a good view. You just got a I'll post it on the thing. You guys will see silhouette. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna get some warmth, and you guys should be warm and cozy. It's Halloween coming up. I'll try to do some more Halloweeny things, because my mom and sister would be proud of me if I did, and I have a sort of nostalgic vibes with that type of stuff, and it reminds me of them in general. So it'll help me feel closer to them while I'm this far. So yeah, Nick Kumia signing off, and I'll see you guys